right? Like, if it was to fuck up your health, they would, like, I know for a fact they would fuck it up. They would play victim and say, oh, you need to eat so you're not so scrawny, but then they don't realize it's like we're at a healthy weight for our body type, right? It's like, ugh. Anyways, enough of that bullshit. Let's keep going. Okay, I want to talk about storage space. This is what I call it. When you guys pray and it comes back tenfold, it's like what you have to let go of what you have to gain this much back. So like what does that mean? So I use the desk for example, right? I left my job where I'm like at the bottom, barely making anything, to come out here with the desk is 3 times bigger, pays much better, right? Like I had to let go. Like I could have easily stayed there, kept making my paycheck, but I'm like I'm not in the right place and I can feel it. And when I come out here, I'm like there's lots of opportunities for it to triple, right? So I call this storage space, right? When you guys pray for the small shit. You're supposed to pray for the big shit, right? And then so you can keep praying for. That's why you have to get rid of the old. I call it storage space because it's like, let's say for example, I'm like I want a desk job, right? I have said desk job, but I'm like I want a better desk job. I can't hold on to this one. I have to let go of it to get the better one, right? This is why, like when you're using a computer and it's like you're out of memory, you're out of storage, you have to get rid of some stuff to bring in more stuff. It's the same thing with the garden. It's like you have to de-weed it so you can have a flourishing garden. It keeps coming up this way. You just have to surrender control, right? Suppose I'm like, I don't want to give up my old job and I stayed there. I probably married and dead by now. You know what I mean? Okay. Talking about conviction now, after talking about that messed up story, I have so much fucking family trauma. I don't have any good stories. You know what else is really fucked up is that the longest conversation I had with my dad is through text. Like he would never talk to me that long in person. It's usually talking at me, talking down to me, not talking to me, right? But that's how my grandfather was, right? So like I have to look at it from an understanding point of view. It's like, okay, my grandfather was like that, my dad chose to be like that. He didn't have to, but he did, you know what I mean? If I want to continue the jackass pattern, I could be like that too. I could be talking down to you guys and I could be like, oh, I'm better than you guys and that kind of thing. But I'm like, I've seen firsthand how dumb it is. I'm like, why would I do something just as stupid? Again, keep in mind, these are people that go to church. Them go to church and then don't practice what they preach, right? I remember when my grandfather died, everybody was wishing he went to hell. Because he fucked up a lot of lives. But I don't think he went to hell. At least in my point of view, I'm like, I hope he didn't, because I'm like, he didn't continue the hellish bullshit that he did toward us. Like, I don't have, even though I didn't have that much time with him, I don't have more horrible stories than I do good with him, right? Remember I told you guys, I'm like, he used to tell me stories. I had that allergic reaction when we were a kid. He would tell me how he knows the people on the TV. We had all the gardening stuff. When we got old, talking about certain stuff. Because he and my dad never get along. And I gotta mediate as usual and keep the fucking peace. I don't know. It depends on who you ask, right? Like, even I told you guys, I'm like, it shook me when I'm like, I didn't even know he would claim me as his granddaughter, right? Because I barely spent any time with him. And I'm like, he probably forgot about me in his old ass age, but no, he not forget nothing. Anyways, moving on to conviction, okay? Since he was guilty of a lot of shit. Old men always have a lot of fucking secrets, which is really annoying. I really tried to have a conversation with him, right? I'm like, I know I'm gonna end up in your position where I'm like on my own. Tell me how you got through it, right? And we couldn't get to that friggin' point. And I was like, fucking useless old man. Okay, moving on to conviction, right? When we're talking about conviction in terms of law, right? You're talking about a sentence, right? Like, you've been convicted of so and so crime, right? Versus if in a religious context, we're talking about having a firm belief in something, right? Like, people don't have conviction when they're praying. I also did the parallel with testimony and then intent, right? Okay. Then we brought up the term of the judge, jury, and executioner. This is how you're supposed to look at God, right? So, I don't know about the executioner part. He's definitely the judge, right? The jury would be like all the testimonies from other people, right? Suppose you did such horrendous fucking things, but you did more good than bad, right? There's more people that say good things about you than bad things. That can override whatever's going on in this courthouse, right? I don't know what a good example to give here is. Like, the first thing that comes to mind is like murder, right? Like, suppose you're in court for murdering somebody and everybody in the court there is happy that you killed that person, right? God's gonna be a little bit more lenient than if people are like, you killed the wrong person. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand how to explain this. There's probably better examples, but I'm like, there's certain situations where he's like, he hears out what the other people have to say. That's why it's good when someone else vouches for you. And I still get that to this day where I'm like, the spirit's on the other side. I told you they come to me for certain things and then I have to execute them while I'm here. And it's not just me, it's just, you know, some of you feel like, I have a feeling to do this today for whatever reason. That comes from that too. Okay. We talk about Shu taking the wheel and doing the mortgage and all that other shit, but I'm like, the only example that it makes a lot more sense is when we're talking about law. If you're going into court, it's not recommended that you go in and represent yourself, right? Because there's a lot of legal jargon. So what do you do in that situation? You hire a lawyer. So in this case, Shu's always the lawyer, right? If you're looking at the sinful nature thing, it's like your crimes or the devil's crimes against you or whatever they're holding up over your head. I don't know, let's say the devil got you to sleep around, right? Shu's now the lawyer for you to get you out of that situation. You'll be like, why did you... He's gonna understand how to get you out of that situation, right? and then take that to the judge, and he's the judge, right? Then he can come back to the devil and tell him like what's going on. How do I make this make sense? He's representing you in a case that's between him and Lucifer, right? Like, I don't know how to explain this. Like, okay, let's use the Garden of Eden. Shu tells them not to eat from the tree, right? They have fun taking shrooms because the devil was able to convince them. Then Shu's now like, why'd you guys fucking eat from the tree? Right? And instead of condemning them for it, he's been helping them since, right? Because then you have the whole crucifixion on the cross, right? Like, that's to atone for all that bullshit. Look how long that took, right? It's not like he didn't figure out a way to help them, right? That's why they tell you you're supposed to be thankful, because some way, somehow, it don't matter how long it takes, he's gonna find a way to help you. It's just that when the rapture comes up, those people are gonna be too late, because there's not gonna be any time to deal with it. That's why they tell you when you read the Bible, you're supposed to accept it without understanding. Because in this context, if he's a lawyer, you're not going to go and read the whole law book when you're in court, right? You're going to trust that your lawyer knows all the legal bullshit and can get you through it, right? So you're supposed to trust in the lawyer, and the lawyer is going to deal with your case. It's the same shit here. It's like trust in God, and God's going to deal with whatever the fuck you asked him for. Right? You can't do anything on your own. If you go in there and you're like, well, fuck God, I don't want God to represent me. It's like, God's the judge, you idiot. You're fucked. And Shu's never gonna rush to, like, finish your case. Right? Like, he's gonna take his time and build the case and make sure you guys win. Right? He doesn't like to lose. I don't think he's ever lost. I'm not sure. Okay. Going back to my example of, like, stuff we're not supposed to know, but he still allows it, right? Let's use, for example, a knife. Right? Again, in the context of we're 3 years old, a 3-year-old shouldn't be using a knife. Right? But how you use it is important. Right? Some people might use the knife to kill a bitch. Right? And some people might use the knife because they need it to, like, peel some fruit or something because they're hungry, right? You're not going to eat the whole. You need to prep it, right? So instead of taking the knife away, right? Free will. Shu gives us free will, and he says, "You can do what you want with the knife. I just hope you don't use it in a wrongful manner, like killing somebody." Right? It's the same situation with my cards. He's like, "I prefer you didn't use it," right? But he said, as long as you're using it and it's not for wrongful usage, then we're okay. Then I'm like, okay. There's also this situation about cravings. So, like, going back to the apple situation, okay? Once you taste an apple, now you have a craving for it, right? You can't untaste an apple, right? It's the same thing with sin. It's like once you've sinned, you can't unsin, right? You start craving for something that's been passed down, right? So, again, free from sin, not free to sin, right? So, going to the knife situation, let's say you inherited killing from your ancestor, right? I don't know what sin to use. I'm just going to use a random example, okay? Let's say, Cain's a good example. Cain was a murderer, right? Let's say because we're sinful by nature, let's say we acquired Cain's murderous nature, right? Because God died for our sins, he's gonna say, you have that killing intent in you. I just prefer you didn't use it wrongfully, right? Like, we could, let's say you're hungry and you decide to kill, I don't know what, like a chicken or a sheep or something, right? You're doing that for food, right? You're not doing that to hurt somebody. Although hurting animals is a different topic altogether. Oh god, I don't know what a good example is here. Right? It's going back to the knife situation, right? Where it's like, you're not supposed to know how to use it, but I hope you don't use it wrong. Same thing here. It's like, um, you're murderous by nature. I just hope you don't kill for wrongful reasons. You know what I mean? Even though, I don't know how to explain this. Murder is wrong all the way through, but I'm like, there's certain situations where it's not. I just can't think of what. Uh, I like the lawyer scenario, but most people use the lifeguard scenario, right? Where you're drowning and you need a lifeguard to come get you because you can't outswim the waves. Otherwise, you'll drown. A lot of people like using that. I like the lawyer situation better. I like thinking of she was my lawyer and not as my lifeguard. You know what I mean? I'm like, why am I out in the water? Who told me to go swimming? There's a fine line between faith and doing your research, right? Again, you think people consenting blindly. Um, you guys have faith when you order fast food that it's not going to be poisoned, right? Or you're not going to have food poisoning after eating it. You have faith when you're crossing bridges or going in elevators, you know that something's not going to go wrong, or when you're taking a plane, for example. There's faith in all of that. But then some people are going to be on the other side and argue that, like, okay, like, say for the plane example, it's like this specific airline has a track record of having crashes, right? This is where you need to do your research now so you don't end up in that situation. Unless you want to, or God decides, you know, it's your time to go. You know what I mean? Because if you're not supposed to die at that moment, you're gonna keep getting delayed, right? You'll see it. There's like Shu intervenes. Uh okay. I said that he's the judge, right? If he's the judge, we're not supposed to judge other people because if we're sinful by nature, you shouldn't be judging someone else for being sinful. You know what I mean? How do I explain this? It's like someone tells me, it's like, Lisa, I don't fuck around, but that person does. That person who says that is gonna end up going to hell because it's like you're still like that by nature just because you don't choose to be that way. Uh, okay, I like using the hunger thing as the example because I hate focusing on attraction and lust and that kind of thing and desire. But anyways, the sin would be gluttony, right? But that's taking hunger a step too far, right? It's okay to be hungry, but it's not okay to overeat and make yourself fucking sick because you have to be stupid out of your mind. It's okay to desire food. You know what I mean? There's all of these fine lines, and people keep crossing these lines, right? It's okay to have desire and attraction, but then when you're like fucking around, like you're still gonna feel empty because you're dumb as fuck. Um, Sloth is laziness. Okay, So then you have irritation, you're annoyed. Then you got resentment, which is bitterness. And then that leads to wrath, which is the rage. When it comes to envy, you got comparison. Then you got dissatisfaction because you're unhappy with yourself. Then envy is like you're judging others, right? I find before I did the unboxings, a lot of people were envious. It's like, oh, this person has so much money, they can afford this, this, and this. How come I can't afford this? Or like in our culture, it's like if one person does something, everybody has to have it. It's really annoying. That's why when I started doing the unboxings, I'm like, I'm not gonna get every version of every album because I'm like, I'd have to be stupid to do it that way, right? I'm like, I'm gonna get the ones that I want, right? Because it adds up, right? And then where am I supposed to store them? Like, I'm thinking ahead. A lot of people don't do that. Okay, pride's the God complex thing. So first comes self-importance, then arrogance, right? You think you're superior to everybody. And then pride is the lack of humility. Right? All the sins are just stuff done a step too far. It's like, oh, I just wanted love. Love turned into lust. Here it's like I was hungry, but then hunger turned into gluttony. Here it's like I'm bored, but boredom turned into laziness. This one, being bitter and resentful, turned into wrath and rage. Being dissatisfied with what you have when you're comparing yourself to others led to being envious, right? And then being arrogant and superior as fuck led to pride, right? It's everything done a step too far. Right? That's what I'm saying. People aren't inherently evil by design. But because bullshit happened, evil tendencies take over. You guys are supposed to fight your demons. What the fuck you guys letting them win for? Ugh. The Hellmount thing is real too. Oh god. So after going all of this, I asked Shu, I'm like, you dealt with all of this shit, why are you still loving? Right? Because people call him a loving, merciful, whatever type of God. Right? That's the first thing I asked him. I'm like, why are you loving? Right? And he answered me and he told me, he's like, why do you care? Right? He posed a question back at me. He said, people think I'm too caring. He said, why do you care? Then I got my answer because I'm like, oh, it's just in my nature. I can't behave any other way. So again, I'm annoyed and I'm like comforted at the same time because I'm like, okay, that makes sense. But still, a lot of bullshit came from that. It's like, what the heck? If he hadn't been so loving and taking care of the situation, we wouldn't be where we are now. Right? Because he was fighting with the devil way before Adam and Eve fell. Which then brings us to modern day time where still shit's going on, right? The other thing I asked him too was, I'm like, I don't have anyone to feed off of. I'm like, okay, if I'm supposed to surrender control over to you, right, and have you deal with everything, I'm like, I need an energy to draw from. Do I feed off of you? I'm like, what am I supposed to do now? And he told me, to do so in steps. right? He said he compared it to like love. He said it deepens over time. He said, you know, when you fall in love, if there's a spark, right? Then you gotta make sure the kindle doesn't go out, right? And the fire grows and grows. He said it's gonna be like that. He said it when I draw from him. Um, until it's like, you know, you're sleeping on beside a cozy ass fire. He said it'll feel like that. He also told me it's like when you have a tree and it sets its roots, right? It takes time to get that deep. So when I look at things from his point of view, I'm both angry because I'm mad, but I understand at the same time why things ended up that way. But I'm like, it's still really fucking annoying. You guys ask him for things and make sure you thank him when he fulfills such things, right? And don't curse him unless he's done something wrong, which he hasn't so far. Except for I think he should have swung first. Like, if I wake up in a mansion tomorrow, I'm gonna fucking praise him because I'll be like, how the heck did this happen, right? I'm like, this ain't real life. Unless my mind is blown, you're not gonna find me praising him at all. If anything, I'm scorning him more than anything else. Also, this is a given. Don't treat him transactionally. Right? We talked about this already. Our problems are our problems, but our problems to him is no problem at all. Right? If he made everything, there's nothing he can't fix. He can do everything. Right? Going back to the law situation, I'm like, I can't do anything about my case, but he can clearly get me out of it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You put everything in his hands. He'll fix everything so that you can let go of it. As I'm reading the Bible, right, all the crazy stuff that happens in the story, I'm like, even though I didn't see it happen, right, the part where they tell you to accept and not understand, like, you kind of have to, even though I didn't see it happen, I gotta believe it, right? Like the fish and the bread and the walking on water and the water to wine shit. I'm like, okay. Oh, Shu really likes using fire too. If you guys do anything with fire, you can ask him for that too. I don't know why he's got a I'm a more toward water, but he likes fire quite a bit. I wish one of those like biblical stuff would happen today. You know what I mean? Okay. What do you guys think is a good or like an excellent exercise of free will? Because I'm taking suggestions, okay? Because I'm doing my free will now and I'm choosing to eat and talk at the same time. Like, there's some better options out there. Somebody suggest some for me. I think eating that muffin in one go is an excellent source of free will. I would have done that over again. Exercise that over and over. You know what? I think I have an extra muffin. Oh my god, guys, I'm getting fat. I don't think this counts as gluttony because I'm not overeating. Like, I have to eat so, like, I can keep going. Okay, I also tested Bible study on my laptop. We'll get to that too. Okay, last thing I have to talk about when it comes to Shu is because I was telling him, I'm like, okay, if I'm going to talk about all this stuff, I need testimony. Give me a test. Because I'm like, I don't have a story. What am I supposed to tell them? And I'm like, I know you're there. And I know you've done things. But I'm like, I don't have a bomb-ass, cool-ass story to tell them. So he told me, he's like, okay, I'm going to show you now, right? I'm like, okay. He told me, make sure you document the date and the time. I'm like, okay. So it's right at the end when I'm wrapping up with all of this, because I'm like, okay, I think I've got a good, not like the entire picture, but a good portion of it where I'm like, I kind of understand what's going on here. And if I encounter somebody, I know how to handle this now, right? So it's August 3rd or 4th. I don't remember. Right now, today's the 14th, okay? Because he told me document the date, right? And I told you I'm reading him with the cards. And I know he's there, right? But I'm like, it hurts so much. I'm like, I need something physical. I'm like, can you help me out here? So I'm like, shoot, I feel really hungry, right? And I'm like, I'm gonna go. That's another thing he told me too. He said he likes going to the grocery store with me. And I was like, that's so fucking weird to say, bro. But I notice when I go, I'm like, I never get anyone staring at me. And I have my space, right? When I go anywhere else, I'm like, I notice a difference. And when I go to the grocery store, I go, normally, I try to avoid going during rush hour. But I'm like, I've been going during rush hour, and I'm like, it doesn't feel like rush hour, which is really weird. And he told me, he's like, he's there with me. So I'm like, it's like the 3rd or 4th now. And I'm telling him, I'm like, I'm hungry and I ain't got nothing to eat in the house. And I think I'm going to go to the grocery store. You're welcome to come along with, right? So I grab my deck of cards and I'm telling him, I'm like, the sale ends on the 5th, right? And when there's sales, I'm like, I always go the day before. I never wait for the last day because I'm like, whatever I'm going for is going to sell out. So for example, I was craving bagels because you guys saw I ate bagels the last video, right? I know my roommate and my landlord don't eat bagels or anything blueberry related, but for some reason I'm sitting here dealing with whatever I'm dealing with and I can smell blueberries. I'm not fucking joking. I felt like I was going crazy. I'm like, I can smell blueberries. So then it led me to go look at the grocery store sites, and then I see blueberry bagels are on sale, but I know I'm like, it's right at the end of the sale, so I'm like, they're probably all gonna be sold out, right? Because when those things are on sale, people just buy out all the stock. So there's 2 days left in the sale, and I'm like, I'm really craving bagels, right? So then I whip out my deck of cards, and I'm like, shoot, should I go grocery shop? Because I told him he's welcome to come with me. He said he liked that shit anyway, so I'm like, you want to come? Should I go? I think it was the 4th. It was the 4th because I asked him, I'm like, should I go to the grocery store today, right? And the cards all kept coming up negative, like, no, don't go today. Right? And I'm like, shoot, if I never go on the last day, right? If he knows me well, I'm like, why would you send me to go out on the last day of the sale? You know there's not going to be any stock left when I go, right? I'm like, people are going to buy out all the bagels and I'm just going to walk and go there for no reason. But he told me, he's like, don't go today, go tomorrow. Right? So tomorrow comes around, it's the 5th. And I'm like, fine, whatever. She told me not to go on the 4th. He told me go next day. So just as I'm preparing to leave, I'm like, shoot, I'm going to the grocery store now, alright? You coming with? And the only thing he told me, because I told you I don't feel him when I'm awake. Like, I could see him and talk to him when I'm asleep. But when I'm awake, I just hear sounds, right? So right before I'm about to leave and go out and head to the grocery store, he tells me the word can opener. That's all I can hear when I'm awake, right? And I'm like, oh, thanks for reminding me. Because in my head, I'm like, okay. Because I told him, I'm like, I think I might need a can opener if I go buy canned food. Like, I have nothing to open cans with, right? But I'm like, I don't want to carry it around if I can't find a decent one, right? All my stuff, you know when it's my stuff when you can tell by looking at it, right? Because I'm like, I can't find a cute, cheap can opener, right? I'm like, any shit could work if I really wanted it to. But I'm like, I want it to be mine. So you know it's mine.